How y'all doing? Alright, so as I said, is that English? So as I said, underbites suck. As I said in my previous video, I wanted to tell stories. So this time I want to talk about the time I tried stand-up comedy. Here we go. Okay, so I've always been the funny kid in class, right? I was never the class clown, but I was always the funny kid in the class because I got good grades, so I wasn't the class clown, but I was a funny kid, right? I like to make people laugh. It's like a superpower. When you say just the right thing at just the right time, or you say I like to be offensive too. So I like to try and offend people just to get a reaction sometimes. I've always been that kid, but in 5th grade, this new kid named Justin, he transferred in the class and he tried to steal my thunder. And these same people that were telling me, "Oh, you're so funny, you're so funny," when he got in there and made them laugh, they looked at me and said, "He's funnier than you." Oh, spank you from the little rascal's looking ass. I remember in 7th grade, my 7th grade English teacher, there was just one instance in class. She was talking about how fat she was. She was on a diet. She was eating some fruit or something. And I told her, "No, I'm fat," because I was kind of chubby. "I'm fat." And she said, "You're not fat." So I stood up and I grabbed my stomach fat and I jiggled it for the whole class. And everybody bust out laughing. I made her choke on her little fruit. I enjoy stand-up comedy. I like entertaining. I'm an entertainer. That's what I do. It's not what I do to make money, but it's what I should be doing to make money. And since I'm so funny, you know what? Let me try comedy. So the first time I tried stand-up comedy was like somewhere around 2008. It was my audience was my sister, and I was in my room. We were in my room. She was laying on my bed, and I was standing up with my little fake microphone that wasn't hooked up to anything. Written down some jokes. I asked her to come listen to them. So I was telling her my jokes. So not only did she not laugh, she fell asleep. Okay? So that was a lot of encouragement there. So when I actually wanted to do it in front of people, I'd gotten the guts back up because that killed my spirit. So I'd gotten the guts back up. It was like 5 years later in 2013 where I decided I would get up and go try it in front of actual people who don't know who I am. So I was looking online for open mic nights. So I found one, and it was downtown. I had just gotten a license, but I didn't have a car. So I decided to take the bus downtown to this open mic night. And I think I had to transfer. It was 2 buses. So I had taken a break in my notebook. I had taken a break from writing songs, and I started writing jokes and the bus route and the bus schedule. I actually told a story. You know, I hope these stories make you laugh. If they don't, oh well, there's a trillion other videos on YouTube. It was a bar, a restaurant. So I took the 2 buses there. I'm shaking all the way there because I'm about to perform this comedy that nobody's ever heard, and I had never heard it because I never told it, right? I walked in the door. I sat in a booth close to the door. The waitress, the girl comes over, and she says, "Do you want anything?" I said, "Can I have some water?" Open mic started at like 7 or something like that, 7 or 8. So I was waiting on that time to come around so we could sign up and sign in for a slot. And you know, if they miss a slot, then that space is just empty and they pick up when the next time starts, stuff like that. So I waited to sign up, but I was asking the guy who moderated the stand-up, I keep saying stand-up comedy. The guy who moderated the open mic nights. I said, "Do you get a lot of stand-up comics here?" And he said, no, it's mostly music. It's mostly music. You know, him and his freshly smoked cigarette teeth. He was a nice guy. So he said no, and I signed up. He said comedians get 5 minutes, music acts get 15 minutes, or 3 songs. So I signed up for 5 minutes, and I kept telling him, "I don't know if I'm going to be any good. This is my first time." So then we listened to a band of old men, and then I went up. They introduced me as a comedian. So automatically, people are expecting to laugh. And I was like, I can't. No promises. The first thing I said when I got up there was, "Hello, my name is Rodney Williams and I accept pity laughs." And when I said that, nobody laughed at all. I said, "I accept pity laughs." Nothing. Crickets. Cicadas. So I started off with that. It didn't start off well. I told the story of the time that I got invited into someone's apartment. Here's that story. This is a Rod story within a Rod story exclusive. So I told a story about a time where I was getting off of work. This was a time when I lived 3 miles away from where I worked, and to get there was just a straight shot there and back. Just walk straight, you get home, you walk there, you get to work. 3 miles there, 3 miles back. So I told the story. Here it is. I told the story that when I got to a major intersection, it was a busy intersection, I had to wait for the cars to go so I could cross the street and keep going. So while I'm waiting at this corner, my eyes go this way, and I see a girl standing on her little balcony. And she was going like this. I was like, who? I was like that, like, are you talking to me? I don't know your ass. The cars were still there, so I couldn't cross the street. So my gaze eventually turned back that way. And I looked right at her again, and she goes, and you know, as a child, you're always taught you never go into a stranger's apartment, you never talk to strangers, you don't know what people do. So naturally, I went over. I was like, maybe she needs help lifting something, or maybe she needs help. Maybe she just needs help, because I'm a giver. So I went over there, walked up the stairs, she opened the door, I walked in, she closes the door, locks it. I was unsettled. I'm just standing there. So she goes to her bedroom. Okay, so I followed her into the bedroom, and I hung out at the door. I was like, I didn't know if anybody was gonna, seriously, I didn't know if anybody was gonna jump out. I didn't know what was gonna happen. So, I walked in a little further, and when I got in there, she reached for my zipper. She was trying to undo my pants. She wanted some. I was like, what? Who? It caught me so off guard. I was like, do we know each other? Have I ever seen you before? She reached for my zipper, and I was like, oh, this is what you wanted? And I pushed her hand away. And then she was like, she didn't speak English, I'm guessing. She was like, no. I said, no. She opened the door, she let me go. Thankfully. That could have gone so many different ways. But she opened the door, she let me go. I waved her and her mustache goodbye. And I went back to the corner and waited on the cars. I was like incredulous. Like, I didn't know what just happened. So I was like, did that really just happen? I was dumbfounded. So that was the story I told. I don't know if that's too uneventful, if it's not funny enough, I didn't make it funny enough. But that was the story I told. Okay, so I told that story. Nothing. So when my little 5 minutes was over, it took like 3.5. But when my little 5 minutes was over, I went down and I sat down at the booth I was at to make it seem like I wasn't there just to perform my comedy, but I wanted to make it seem like I was there to patronize and, you know, participate in shit and stuff. So I sat down in my booth, I sipped a little more water, and then I slipped out. I couldn't get out of there fast enough, okay? So I came out of the restaurant, I waited for the bus, listened to my music, and I took the 2 buses back home. And then when I got home, I was like, I went on Facebook immediately. That's where I aired out all my grievances. Nobody listens to me in real life, and nobody listens to me on Facebook. But all I said was something like, well, that didn't work. I guess I'll just stick to being funny the only way I know how, in the moment. Something like that. I mean, I bombed. Maybe they were more wanting to hear music. Maybe they just weren't in the mood. It could have been all kinds of reasons that I didn't. Maybe I just wasn't funny. You know? I'd be down to try it again. It would have to be the right place, though. But all comedians say the first time that they do stand-up comedy, they bomb. Yeah. That was the first and last time I ever tried stand-up. Alright, tell me what you think. Love, peace, and iron the crease.